Well, good evening and welcome to the Board of Education meeting for Greeley-Evans School District 6. Tonight is February 27th. We'll now call this meeting to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Richard, will you call the roll for us, please?
Director Bentley.
Present.
Director Campus Bitsy.
Present.
Director Mash.
Present.
Director Matthews.
Present.
Director Norwood. Director Pappas.
Present.
Director Sullivan.
Present.
6 members present.
Thank you, and I will add that Mr. Norwood is excused tonight because of illness and won't be joining us. But welcome to everyone who is joining us here in person or who's joining us online. We are glad that you are with us tonight. We have a great board meeting tonight. As I look out into the audience, I see many, I think, who are here for Dream Team Scholars presentation, Honor Scholars presentation. And we're so thankful that you are here with us tonight and thankful that we get to honor you at this board meeting. For those of you who don't know, the Dream Team is one of our nonprofits, and it focuses on getting our students who maybe are first generation students or students whose parents haven't gone to college, first generation college students, to college. And so we very much appreciate this organization and all that they do for us. I do want to highlight just for everyone that we have a Dream Team golf tournament. One of the ways that they raise money is through this golf tournament, and it's on Saturday, May 6th. So be on the lookout for information. If you are someone who plays golf, we encourage you to sign up to find a team or to sponsor a hole. We actually have another nonprofit who works with us as well, and that's the Success Foundation, and they have a breakfast coming up on March 6th, and that's on Monday. And so encourage you, if you would like to find out more about the Success Foundation and the work that they do in the district, the Success Foundation breakfast is a great way to do that, and that'll be at Greeley West. That's early Monday morning on March 6th. And so just wanted to highlight those things and thank our Dream Team for being here tonight. One of the things we've gotten to do as a Board of Education recently is to go to our Family Center. We got to do that. Ms. Pappas and Ms. Mash and Dr. Campos Spitzy and I were there on Friday morning, and this is such a wonderful thing that we have in the district, and it is a program where we focus on those who don't have or maybe new to our community primarily. For our students who are immigrants, for our students who are refugees, but also for our students who are homeless, and to make sure that our students have what they need to be successful in our district. I think a lot of people, we will also get tonight a report on our cultural proficiency work, and I think a lot of people get or misunderstand what is meant when we use terms like equity and diversity. And all equity really means is that we want to get our students what they need to be successful in school. And so whatever that need happens to be, so if our students are hungry, if they don't have enough food, that we make sure that they're fed. That if our students need transportation to get to school, that they have that transportation. If our students are GT, they're gifted and talented, that they have a GT teacher that is able to help them and make the most of their education. If our students need an English language teacher, that they have that English language teacher. If they need a counselor, if we have students that are struggling with depression, that we have counselors who are able to help them. So every one of our students comes to us from a slightly different place and from a slightly different background, and we want to make sure that they have all the supports and the people in their lives, the teachers that they need to be successful in this school system. And the Dream Team is a great part of that. Our Family Center is a great part of that, and we're so very proud of the cultural excellence and cultural proficiency work that Dr. Pilch and her team are doing, and you'll get to hear a lot more about that tonight. And so with that, I will move on to the next part of our meeting, and that is the approval of an agenda. And so if someone would be so kind as to make a motion so we can move forward.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing no one, Richards, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campus Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan? Aye. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Richards. Next on our agenda are board member comments and reports. And tonight we'll lead off with Ms. Sullivan.
Mine is, again, short and sweet. I'm just on my first week back to work and felt like I got hit by a Mack truck, but you kind of all saw me gimping in. But I appreciate that the board has actually been very considerate in my healing time. So I greatly appreciate all of you. You guys have been very supportive on this, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Ms. Mash.
So I was able to attend the Chamber of Commerce dinner last weekend, and that was a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun to see so many familiar faces and to learn more about the businesses we have in Greeley and how they all are supporting one another and supporting District 6. We have a number of community partnerships, and we're so thankful for those. So it was a lot of fun. It was a Casino Royale theme, and the balloon art was amazing. I think that's Mary Makers who did all of the balloons, but that was a lot of fun. And then as President Matthews mentioned, the Family Center, just such a treasure here at District 6, and the way it serves our community is something I didn't actually understand the full scope of. So that was really educational. It's great to know that we've outgrown the space, and so hopefully we'll be able to find somewhere bigger so that they can continue with all their ideas and programs. And then I thought I would just do a little commercial, I guess. Last time we had the Frontier Academy students here, and they were saying that one of the things they were working on was getting higher attendance at their sporting events. So today was the first day of practice for our spring sports in all of our schools. So I encourage you all to go see some sports. There's women's soccer and women's tennis, baseball, track and field, and then men's swimming and men's volleyball. So if you're not busy, you should come see some really great athletic competition and good sportsmanship.
Thank you, Ms. Mash. Mr. Bentley.
I don't think I did much. I took the whole entirety of last week off for some personal stuff and just kind of get my bearings straight and back to the flow of things. So we got a lot of exciting things coming up in the schedule and for the next couple of weeks and months. So just kind of excited to get back in and do my due diligence and be a board member again.
Dr. Campos-Spincy.
The highlight of my week last week, I don't know if you guys know, but as board members, we get assigned liaison schools that we get to work a little more closely with. And one of my liaison schools is Jefferson Junior High School. And I got to go to their first ever 21st Century Parent Engagement Night. It was a ton of fun. We played foosball and tried to play table tennis, but one of the balls went missing. Ate carne asada together from Mero Mero, played loteria, and I just met so many inspiring people who work in that building, from Trish and Corey, the principal and vice principal, to Jackie Malley, who took me over to the room where apparently they have Saturday school sometimes, and they feed the kids pizza. And the kids got sick of eating pizza, and one day she brought like an Instapot and made a better meal. And the kids really thought that was great. And so they actually now have like 7 Instapots, and the kids all have cooking books, like Instapot cooking books. And on Saturdays, they get to have cooking class too. And so anyway, I feel like District 6 is full of so many heroes, and I'm just impressed every time I go into one of the buildings. This last Thursday, Miss Natalie or Director Mash was saying, we got to go to Casino Royale themed Greeley Chamber of Commerce night, and it was great. There's 1,200 people in that building. I was amazed. They really served us all a hot meal. and got to learn about the businesses in town, and got to partake this Saturday for Greeley Freezy Days Fest, which was not very freezy. It was kind of warm. But they had a photo contest that my husband and I were intent that our family would win. So I still made my kids dress up in their snowsuits in like 40-degree balmy weather. And we're only one of 2 contestants in the photo contest, so I think we might win. And then last week we also got to go to the Family Center, learned about the fact that there's 500 to 600 students in District 6 who either are in doubled up homes or face housing insecurity. Some of them are housed in the Clarion Hotel. So really sobering fact. Those numbers sound a lot higher than what I expected. And just saw the amazing work that's happening at the Family Center. The way, Jesus Tijerina, one of our district leadership, writes grants to keep that place funded. They offer students and their families language classes, diapers, blankets, pillows, and mostly just provide a lifeline really to make sure that our students are housed. I think it wasn't that long ago I was hearing this slogan, housing first, all the time, meaning in order for a family, a child, a parent to be successful, they have to have housing first, right? Like meeting those basic needs. So I'm so proud of District 6 that we are partnering with families in that very significant way.
Thank you, Dr. Campo-Spitzy. And I would just add, we have some fantastic students in this district, and their successes and achievements and artwork and sports accomplishments are on display all the time. And I would certainly encourage you, if you're just watching at home, to find out what's being offered and where that's going to happen. I will say just one, congratulations to our Greeley Central girls basketball team. They had a fantastic run this season. They went to the state tournament. Won't be winning the state tournament this year, unfortunately, but congrats to them. They were a lot of fun to watch. Greeley Central also is having Grease coming up very, very soon. It's March 9th through 11th. That's, I think, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And again, always do such a fantastic job in the theater department at Greeley Central. So put that on your calendar, March 9th through 11th to see Grease. This Friday is the Arts Night. We have what has been so amazing to see is the rebound of the arts since COVID. Of all the things that got taken away in that pandemic, I think the arts got hit the hardest, and it's been wonderful to see what our kids have been doing and their artistic accomplishments. So one of those is Friday night. If you go downtown, just about anywhere you go downtown, I won't give you a specific place, but just about anywhere you go, you can go see artwork that's been done by our district students. You can go see students perform live. If you missed it, there was a wonderful event by the Greeley Children's Chorale where we had, I think, 11, 12 different elementary schools singing on stage at the same time. I don't know that I've ever seen that many elementary kids singing all at once. And so it has been wonderful to see our arts make such a great comeback. And I encourage you to find, see where our kids are performing, see where they're playing, and go see them because they're pretty great. All right.
May I speak?
Oh, Ms. Pappas, I'm so sorry.
Yes. Well, I know that sometimes you are tired of listening to me.
No, that's not it at all.
No, I know. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I just have a couple of things. One, I just want to thank the Family Center as well for hosting us on Friday morning. But then as we had our information about cultural proficiency and during the work session, it just reminds us of how important it is that we're doing this cultural proficient work when we have students that we know are experiencing homelessness and other situations where if we weren't aware of that, well, even if we're not aware of it, we do have processes in place with our cultural proficiency to meet the needs for all of our students. So I just want to make that connection and how important that is. And then I also had the opportunity to hear from someone who works in the admissions office this weekend. And apparently, we had our first, we're near the end of our first open enrollment, which, because we have school of choice, I think that adds quite a significant impact on the people that work in the admissions office. So I want to thank them for all the work that they're doing to make sure that families are able to follow the process for a school choice, and also that tomorrow apparently is the deadline for the first round of open enrollment. But I don't think I was totally aware of all of the things components that exist in that office, in that department. So shout out to all of you, and thank you very much for the work that you do. I'm
Thank you,
done
Ms.
now,
Pappas.
yes.
Thank you for keeping me straight, not letting me forget. Next on our agenda tonight, we have our work session report. So Ms. Richards, will you give us our work session report, please?
The work session began with a review of upcoming district events. The board invited Dr. Stacy Dattery, Jesse Tiarina, and Amy Zuloff to discuss one of the strategic plan work areas of cultural proficiency. They led the board through an activity. Legal counsel Nathan Fall provided a legislative update, which was discussed by the board. The work session concluded with a debrief from each board member.
Thank you, Ms. Richards. Next on our agenda tonight is that 2023 Dream Team Honors Scholars presentation that I mentioned earlier, and we're so excited to have this presentation, and so we'll invite Ms. Elizabeth Barber to come forward. And Dr. Pilch, is there anything that you would like to say in advance of her comments?
I will just thank you, President Matthews. I just want to say thank you to Ms. Barber and her team who are here tonight, and especially congratulations to all of these students and your families. I think this is the largest crowd we've had as honor scholars, and we're just so proud of you and excited to recognize you tonight. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, President Matthews, members of the board, Dr. Pilch, thank you for having us tonight. We are so excited to celebrate this year's latest round of Dream Team Honors Scholarship recipients. What the students will find out tonight is what they are getting for their scholarship award amount. So they are equally as excited to be here. As we celebrate our 35th anniversary this year, working with students in the district, we've helped over thousands of students progress through school, graduate, and head off to whatever college looks like for them. It could be a 2-year, a 4-year, a trade, an apprenticeship program. And we're just incredibly proud of the work of our staff and our students and all their perseverance. And in fact, I think this group of seniors is extra special. As they started as freshmen, that's when the pandemic started. And so they really didn't have the most unique, well, they had a unique high school experience and maybe not the most traditional. So I'm proud of their perseverance and their strength and their positive attitudes and their stick-to-itiveness. So we know that we are sending amazing leaders off out into our community here in District 6. In the past 20 years alone, we've given out over $500,000 in Dream Team scholarships. Tonight will be no different. We're going to give out over $43,000 to 25 deserving scholarship recipients. Students, at this time, I will call your name and please come forward. And parents and family members, if we'll hold our applause to the end, and then we'll clap for everybody. But our first student that we have that we'd like to recognize is Alexis Almanza Gonzalez from Early College Academy. Fanny Antonio Romero from Early College Academy. Angela Avila from Early College Academy. Noe Balderrama Hernandez from Early College Academy. Marilyn Chavez, Greeley West High School. Olivia De La Cruz from Jefferson High School. Mercedes Diaz Castillo, Greeley Central High School. Ashley Flores Luna, Greeley West High School. Sonia Loma Artiega, Greeley Central High School. Emily Lopez, Greeley West High School. Elora Mann, Greeley Central High School. Mike Marufo Guerra, Greeley Central High School. Tommy Medina III, Greeley Central High School. Valeria Mendiola, Greeley-West High School. Ariel Pacheco, Greeley-West High School. Michelle Pastrana, Greeley-West High School. Avery Rivera Solis, Northridge High School. Joshua Rodriguez, Early College Academy. Avery Sleeman, Northridge High School. Jasmine Tapia, Greeley-West High School. Akira Williams, Early College Academy. In addition to these students tonight, we have 4 additional students that we will recognize. The next 2 are students that are receiving the Delia and John W. Hafley Scholarship Award. Those 2 students would be Yasmin Adam from Greeley-West High School and John Gallegos from Greeley-West High School. And our final 2 recipients of the night will receive the Bond Family Summit Award. This award is in addition to their Dream Team Scholarship. These are for the 2 scholarship recipients that have the highest grade point average overall, which are both over 4.3. The 2 recipients are Helen Guyona from Northridge High School and Dylan Roseman from Early College Academy. May I present to the board the 2023 Dream Team Honors Scholarship recipients. We'll take a really quick photo if the board would like to come around. Okay, thank you very much. We'll head out the back door. Yep.
I'm gonna sit by Danielle.
Fine, that's what I was looking for. That was probably the bastard. They're honest, man.
Michael, you got your answer. I just saw your text.
Yeah, just about it. And Well, again, congratulations to all our Dream Team Honors Scholars. We could not be more proud. We're so thankful to the Dream Team for their continued encouragement and work with our scholars, and such a fantastic group to get to honor tonight. Next on our agenda is the Council of Student Representatives report. So I'd like to invite our Council of Student Representatives to come forward.
Thank you, President Matthews. We're excited to welcome students from the District 6 Online Academy, Emma Berg and Princess Dobbs, and Mrs. Sheila Bowman, their principal. Come on up, guys. Thank you.
President Matthews, Dr. Pilch, and the board, thank you so much for the honor of being able to bring our online school in front of you to give a little bit of report on how we're doing. We're in our second year, and we're so grateful to have the opportunity to have a sustainable option for our students that prefer to be online. Tonight I have two of our best and brightest students, and I'm excited to introduce them to tell you a little bit more about our school.
Hello, good evening, President Matthews, Board of Education, Dr. Pilch. My name is Princess Nasia Yehud Dobbs. I'm a senior at D6 Online Academy, and I represent my school for the Council of Student Representatives. I'm the president of our National Honor Society and National Junior Honor Society. I'm also the treasurer for our student council at my school, and I am awaiting for many colleges, but Howard University is obviously my top college. After I get accepted to Howard University, I would love to major in health sciences and chemistry, and then minor in secondary education. I enrolled into the online academy because going to public school at the time would jeopardize my mother's health. I also stayed because I just love the staff and how supportive they are, and I just love the convenience of learning from home. Some things that I am so grateful for that my school does for us is having success days for our students, which is rewarding and encouraging them to focus on positive engagement, attendance, and academic performance through passing grades. Our student council is also hosting a movie night this coming spring to raise money for our end of the year celebration. We did a survey of all of our high school students, and they greatly and largely would prefer for us to have a bowling/game night versus a traditional dance. So with that being said, we are planning and moving forward to have our end of the year celebration at the Clippers Lanes here in Greeley, May 15th. And with all that being said, our school would really love if we had our space for more opportunities for students to connect in person and to just have room for family events and for our testing center. Our administration team at our school is working and collaborating with our district to have those opportunities for our students, which will be valuable and sustainable for us. I am so grateful that you gave me the honor to share and talk to you about my school, and I would like to introduce my classmate and my fellow Council of Representatives, Emma Berg.
Good evening, President Matthews, Board of Education, and Dr. Pilch. I'm Emma Berg. I'm a junior at D6 Online Academy and represent my school on the Council of Student Representatives. I am a part of National Honor Society and vice president of my school's GSA. I want to go to college in Denver, where I'll major in graphic design and marketing with a minor in performing arts. I enrolled in the online academy because I was unsafe around the people at my old school in another district, and the administration was not accommodating to my chronic illness. We are celebrating our second year as a school and are proud that we have teachers who are understanding and accommodating of different situations for every student's needs, be that academic, social, physical, and emotional needs. Our school's National Honor Society is working on creating a stronger community within the school by forming buddies between high school and middle, and high schoolers reading with elementary schoolers. Thank you for listening to us about our school. We are honored to be here and incredibly grateful for all you have done to get our school started and for your continued support now and in years to come.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. We may have some comments or questions for you tonight. We'll wait just a second and see. Ms. Mash.
Thank you for coming and speaking to us. I know it can take time out of your studies and things like that, but I really appreciate hearing what it's like to be an online student and to hear about all the clubs and all the different ways that you are cohesive and get to know your classmates, because I didn't know exactly how that worked when you're online. So best wishes to both of you, and certainly when you have that degree in science and chemistry and education, we'd love to have you back at District 6 as an employee. We do have a health sciences academy, probably you could teach there. And maybe we'll get to see you in a production someday as well. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, again, thank you guys for being here tonight. We appreciate your report, and we appreciate hearing again about how much the District 6 Online Academy has meant to you both. This was, for everyone who is unfamiliar, we did not have an online academy before COVID. We talk about all the things that were lost in COVID, but we did actually gain some things in COVID as well. And we discovered that we can actually do online education and provide that well. And so we're so excited to hear that worked so well for you both and for your fellow students. So thank you for being here tonight. Next on our agenda is the Read Across America Greeley Education Association. And so, Dr. Pilch, is there anything you would like to say in advance of this report?
I am happy to introduce to you Val Cook from our Greeley Education Association, who will talk about this proclamation. Thank you, Val.
All right, good evening. I'm Val Cook. I'm the PE teacher at Meeker. I'm speaking on behalf of the Greeley Educators Association this evening. Whereas the members of the Greeley Education Association stand firmly committed to promoting reading as the catalyst for our students' future academic success, their preparation for America's jobs of the future, and their ability to compete in a global economy. And whereas the Greeley Education Association has provided significant leadership in the areas of community involvement in the education of our youth, grounded in the principle that educational investment is key to the community's well-being and long-term quality of life. And whereas NEA's Read Across America, a national celebration of reading on March 2nd, 2023, promotes reading and adult involvement in the education of our community students. Therefore, be it resolved that the Greeley Education Association calls on the citizens of Greeley-Evans School District 6 to ensure that every child is in a safe place reading together with a caring adult on March 2nd. And be it further resolved that this body enthusiastically endorses NEA's Read Across America and recommits our community to engage in programs and activities to make America's children the best readers in the world. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Val. Thank you for being here tonight. And again, we certainly want to promote reading in every avenue that we can. And so thank you for bringing that to us tonight. Next on our agenda is our superintendent's report. So Dr. Pilch, would you give us your report, please?
I am happy to give my report. I have a couple of updates, and then I want to recognize some very important new hires this evening. So first, I'd like to just share that the initial book review of the book Beloved by Toni Morrison that we received the complaints on, that committee has completed their work last week, and Mr. Tuttle is finalizing his recommendation, which will come to me, and then I will make a decision based on that recommendation, whether I support the recommendation or I would make a change to the recommendation. Parents and other community members who filed a complaint will receive a letter regarding the decision regarding the book Beloved. For the folks that we have correct addresses on, they will receive a letter. For those of you who are curious about where we are in the process and would like to see that final result, you can go to our website. It'll be posted on our website. You go to departments, and then you go to academic achievement, and then you go to the book review process. And we're posting information there. That committee will come back together again next week and they will begin reviewing the complaints related to the book, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. And they'll go through the process like they have done with Beloved, where the committee members read the book, and then they'll have a series of meetings where they discuss and make recommendations concerning those complaints, and then it comes to me. To clarify, once the recommendation comes to me, I have 30 days to rule on that decision from the recommendation from the book review committee, and then the complainants, should they not be satisfied with my decision, the complainants have 10 days to appeal to the Board of Education should they want the board to hear that complaint and rule on that complaint. So I wanted to update you on that. And then I just wanted to share that, those of you who haven't had a chance to see a high school musical in District 6, Mr. Matthews mentioned the play Grease that will be at Greeley Central High School. I want to encourage you to take advantage of that March 9th through the 11th. It just really is a lot of fun to see our high school kids performing at the level our students perform at here in District 6. And again, a shout out to all of those choir teachers and the Greeley Children's Chorale, the Littler Foundation, the John and Delia Hafley Foundation, who helped support that community-wide elementary concert. There were nearly 600 students on that stage at the end of that program. So that, I've never seen that many students on one stage. And the only time they had to practice together was that day. So they were truly remarkable. It was a really fun event to be a part of. And now, I'd like to talk about a couple of really important hires here in District 6. And all of our hires are important, but you all know how complex the hiring of a high school principal is. And we are so fortunate to have the talent that we have here in District 6. And we have a strong pipeline of talent among our assistant principals coming up. And our assistant principals who we are appointing at Greeley Central High School and Northridge High School competed against other sitting administrators, some with principal experience inside the district as well as outside the district. And we're just so proud to announce these two hires. So I'm going to start with Northridge High School and our principal recommendation for you all tonight for Northridge High School. Mr. Aaron Allen, I'd like to encourage you to come up and just be recognized for a moment while I talk about you, if you would. I am happy to recommend to you all Mr. Aaron Allen as the new principal at Northridge High School. You may recall that Dr. Insun Olson came over to the district office late last spring, and we've had an interim principal, Mr. Greg Cocking, in that position, and Mr. Allen will go in and take that position. He has been in our school district here now for several years at Greeley West High School. He has an interesting background in that part of his teaching career was teaching English in Japan, and then he returned to the United States in 2003, where he taught at Broadmoor Elementary School in Colorado Springs. And then in 2004, he went to Sand Creek Elementary, where he taught music until 2009. And then in 2009, he became a school counselor. So he has that counseling background as well. Did that at the middle school, which just means he totally is a saint. Those of us who have worked in the middle schools, we have a very special place in our future. And then he was in that role till he came to District 6. He was an assistant principal at Fox Middle School. And then when he left that position, he then went to Beijing and worked again in an international school. So he brings a lot of international experience. And then in 2018, he came to Greeley West High School as the assistant principal. So we're very excited to have Mr. Allen at Northridge High School and look forward to all that he will do leading there. Congratulations, Mr. Allen. And you can just stay there to support your friend Amy Zuloff, who's coming up next. I am pleased to recommend to you Mrs. Amy Zuloff as our new principal at Greeley Central High School. As you all know, Mrs. Zuloff will replace Carrie Smith, longtime teacher and educator at Greeley Central, who is retiring at the end of this year. She began her career here in the Greeley-Evans School District as an English teacher in 2008 at Northridge High School. And then she transitioned over to the Fort Collins Poudre School District, where she also taught middle school. There's a theme here, I think, around this middle school background. Was an English teacher there, and then came back to District 6, where she served as the International Baccalaureate Program Coordinator at Greeley West, and as an English teacher. And then in 2016, she became the assistant principal at Greeley-West. And I think you all are aware of this, but Amy really stepped up during the construction of the new Greeley-West High School. That's a big load on a principal. And so while Mr. Cranston was taking that load on, both Amy and Aaron took on additional responsibilities at Greeley-West. And I think those responsibilities and those opportunities they both had have definitely prepared them better to be a high school principal. So a good thing that came out of all that extra work you all had to do while we were pulling Principal Cranston away from some of his principal duties. But just very excited to bring both of these candidates to you all and have this kind of talent and professionalism and leadership here in District 6. So thank you. I'm glad you're both here tonight.
Next on our agenda is our Innovation 2030 update, cultural proficiency goal number 1. And so I'd like to invite our presenters to come forward. Dr. Pilch, is there anything you would like to say in advance of their presentation?
Thank you, President Matthews. As you all heard in the minutes, we had some initial conversation in the work session around our cultural proficiency work, gave the board a chance to actually go through an activity which is similar to an activity that we have done with staff and continue to do with educators here in District 6. Tonight, what we bring you is the actual Innovation 2030 strategic plan update related to cultural proficiency, and you'll have an opportunity to see some of the data that we're collecting around that, as well as hear about the work, and hopefully you'll have some good questions for us. And I have before us tonight Dr. Stacy Dattery, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Jesse Tiarina, Director of Cultural Excellence and Family Engagement, and Miss Amy Zuloff, our outgoing Assistant Principal at Greeley-West High School.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch. Whoa, thank you. And President Matthews and members of the board, it is our pleasure to bring to you this update on culture and climate, Goal 1 specifically on cultural proficiency and our update. So as we know, and as we get started with every one of our updates to you around Innovation 2030, we are reminded and grounded in our mission and our vision of this district, and ensuring that every student in District 6 engages in a personalized, well-rounded, and excellent education, and preparing all of our students to be college and career ready. And further, it's worth noting all of our values and our beliefs as a district, but very specifically when we think about this update, knowing that these two that we've bolded really stand out, and that we believe diversity is a strength in our district with all of our students and our staff, and that we promote access and opportunity and choice. And I think you'll see as we share this update with you that those values are really upheld in the work and the actions that we will share with you this evening. And as we know, all 4 of these focus areas are important to the work we do in District 6. But as I mentioned, climate and culture focus area is what we will discuss tonight, and very specifically, as I mentioned, Goal 1, and it reads, develop cultural responsiveness throughout the organization. Now within this goal, we actually have 3 objectives, and we're going to break those down tonight and the actions that go along with each of those. And within those objectives, we have 4 outcomes and very specific measures that we are tracking to ensure that the work and the actions that we are taking in this goal area are positively impacting our district community. So I'm going to hand this over to Ms. Zuloff, and she's going to share a little bit more about what this first objective really embodies for us. So Ms. Zuloff.
So for objective 1, as you can see, it is our objective to cultivate a strong sense of belonging and empowerment for all students and staff. Some of the actions that we're taking to achieve that objective is that we're encouraging diverse equity teams, including parents and students when appropriate. We're hosting parent and family academies, principal chats, and we have interactive student workshops. Important to note is that this is, we've got some goals within our objective that have a metric attached to it. So by 2026, district level student data, our goal is that it will be at or above 75% on the classroom community section of the annual student survey. As you can see, we have some positive trends within our data, but we still have room to grow. So identifying our 3rd to 5th grade students have dipped, but are above that 75% on the classroom community section of the annual survey. And we have our 6th to 8th grade and our 9th to 12th grade currently below that 75%. In addition, we have the data for the staff as well. Again, our goal is that our staff also has a strong sense of belonging and empowerment. So our goal is that by 2026, district level staff will be at or above 75% on the school community section of our annual staff survey. You can see our teachers have been surveyed for a number of years and are rating at that 93%. This is the first year that we've also surveyed our operational staff and our site-based staff as well, and we have some room to grow in that area.
Objective 2, provide access to and support for learning opportunities so all students will be career and college ready. Actions, increase identification of GT students, including all cultures and students who are multilingual. Co-create student-led activities, including Introduction to Mexican American Studies Student Conference, which was our first annual this year in September. Partner with UNC on multicultural workshops, events, and festivals. When I think about the data and meeting the needs around achievement and really looking at disaggregated student groups, as it says here, by 2025, schools will decrease disproportionality of achievement by 5% across disaggregated student groups. I think about graduation rates and the great work that we're doing as we trend up. As compared to the state, we are exceeding the state with all students, as you can tell. From 2020 to 2022, we've increased and we're exceeding the state by at least a couple of percentile points. When you look at the disaggregated numbers around economically disadvantaged, District 6 is 81.1%. When you're looking at students with disabilities, we are looking at 76.6%. I'm sorry I missed the LEP, the limited English proficiency. We are at 72.5%. And we're looking at students of color, we're at 82.3%, which the state is at 76.8%. But as you can see, we've seen a consistent trend up in that data rate. Before we get to 3, something that, thank you, Drew. Where's Drew at? I did see him here earlier. Thank you, Drew, for pulling some data. One of the things that we are really proud of is the work, as you all have said, around the Family Center and some of the work we do with our students that are the highest mobile. In looking at the data, we exceed the state when it comes to migrant, McKinney-Vento, and foster. And those are the students of the highest mobility. For instance, foster youth have an 80% mobility rate. The state graduation rate for foster youth is 25%. While of course we would like to be at 100% or near, our graduation rate for foster is 44%. But when you look at the high mobility of 80.6%, that's huge. When we look at McKinney-Vento, state is at 55.4%, we're at 67%. Migrant states at 69%, we're at 73.8%. So I think that's a testament to the intentional, tailored work we do for the student groups that are the most underrepresented and underserved. Thank you.
And then on to objective 3, demonstrate culturally responsive practices throughout the district. Our actions within this objective is to co-develop culturally responsive training with principals and school equity teams, co-develop culturally responsive training with operational staff, provide quarterly workshops to classified and certified staff, and provide culturally responsive training for new staff during our new professional academy and new administrators training. Our school board got to experience what some of this training looks like at their work session this evening. We have some data attached to this one as well. By 2026, district level student data will be at or above 75% on both sections of the race and equity survey. So as you can see, we have a 79% at our diversity and inclusion band, and we have taken a dip with our cultural awareness and action. In addition, we have the goal, like we stated, of all of our staff receiving training on culturally responsive practices within the first year of employment. So by 2024, we are looking at 100%, and currently we are sitting at 90% staff trained.
Thank you. And so finally, as we just wrap up and share with you some of the work that we're really wanting to dive into and focus on for the remainder of this year and as we go into next year, is as we looked at some of that data that we just shared with you, noticing that our students are telling us, and we talked about our 3rd through 5th grade students and seeing a little bit of a dip there with that classroom connection and that environment, and as well looking at our secondary students and how they are responding on some of the inclusion and equity questions. We want to dive into that a little bit more. This data can tell us one part of the story, but really asking them, what does that look like and sound like, and listen to those conversations. So really conducting some focus groups with our students, and likewise with our staff, really thinking about how are they entering into this work and within this particular area, and help us to help them to feel that they can really meet the needs of all of the students in their classroom. So we have some really positive data points. We want to say what's getting us those results. We want to continue on that work and that trajectory. And then how can we continue to support them and continue meeting the needs of our students and our staff in that work. So those are really 2 areas that we want to further dive into, our data and in the work. And then finally, we've been working on some modules training, so that as we get more diverse and as we get more and more folks, not everybody is at the same place in their training and their understanding and what they want to engage in further. And so we've created some modules where people can really engage in that on a personal, at their time and in their space and how they want to enter into that training. And so creating these modules really have created an opportunity for that district-wide. And so we'll be implementing those as we move forward. They have just been created over the course of this year, and so we will continue to provide training for staff in ways that really meet their needs at that level. So we thank you for your time as we've engaged with you a little bit on what we've been doing in this cultural proficiency goal 1, and we can answer any questions or take any comments you may have.
Well, thank you all for being here. I bet we do have a few questions and comments for you. So leading off, we have Ms. Pappas.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for being here and presenting. I have a couple questions. So the module training that you just talked about, will that be like an independent study? Will it be, what will that look like?
So it'll be similar to CART training is.
Okay.
We're looking at something that's universal. We talked about it earlier in the session around the importance of having knowledge to be able to articulate definitions and the language. So it'll be basic in that context, but friendly for all folks to be able to engage in.
Okay, thank you. And then one more question. I don't know if you want to go back to the slide or not, but I think you talked about doing focus groups with students, and I think you were talking about the data that came out in the survey, and specifically the cultural awareness and action seems like it had taken a dip. Or I'm wondering if you could go back to that slide maybe and then just talk a little bit about why you think that happened, or what's your hypothesis for that?
Well, I can start a little bit. We have done, first, this data is pretty new for us, which is why we really have not had a chance to do those focus groups, because we want to actually get at a little bit more about what you're even asking. And so what we have noticed as we looked into it a little bit in our district equity team meetings and some of the work is that there were actually, there's about 10 questions in this particular cultural awareness and action section. 4 of those questions really, most of the questions, it was pretty much the same as they had responded in the year prior, with maybe 1 to 2% variance. Pretty insignificant in terms of any variance from how they had felt prior. There were actually 4 questions where there was a significant drop in how students responded from last year to this year. And it's centered around, and I'm gonna turn it over to Jesse where he might be able to even share a little bit more with some of the conversations he's had, but it's centered around students feeling as though they could openly talk and were engaging in conversations with their peers and in classrooms and with their teachers about cultural actions, things that were happening in our country or in news and in media around these kinds of topics, and that they feel supported, that they feel that they could talk about those things. And about 30%, give or take, on those 4 different questions that really centered around those kinds of issues really is what dropped our data pretty significantly. So we want to ask a little bit more about what really do they mean, what sits underneath some of that data. So that focus groups will really help us to get a little bit better understanding than just the basic question and then the fact that it dropped. We want to ask a little bit more, disaggregate that a little more. Is there anything you would add? You've done a little bit of that already.
I would definitely agree. You know, I look at it in the context also is that initially when you do this work, you'll see a spike where people begin to share. So a lot emerges. But what emerges, others may not be familiar with. So I think about today's session and the importance of knowing where other people are showing up. You know, so I think that's the piece also that speaks to the need that we got to continue to increase our awareness around communities other than our own, because we have such high mobility that it's just in and out, in and out. As we had mentioned around the numbers around McKinney-Vento. This year, we've identified approximately 627 students and their families that are experiencing lack of nighttime fixed residence, which is homelessness. Right now, we have 500 active, 507. So right there's 115 or so that are no longer with us, right? So in that change, everybody is showing up with something different. So it's really about being aware and always knowing that that should be at the front of the work.
Thank you. And then will the focus groups, do you plan that they will start before the end of the year or? Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Through this spring and even as we start the year next year, and making sure that we're listening to our students.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Dr. Campos-Spitzy.
Mine is more of a comment and actually about the modules as well. So personally, I really enjoy workshops, and especially for these topics where there's a lot of growth and learning and like things that are more engaging, like the empathy interviews that you guys talked to us about at the Family Center are awesome. I am not the biggest fan of internet modules, just as a person who has to do a lot of them in my job. And I'm an expert clicker, click. So I would just be a little concerned if that was the only kind of implementation. I would hope that there was going to be the type of work you guys did with us today as part of it too.
Well, we're big fans of in-person, right? But again, you know, you get into the conversation in different parts along the continuum. So modules offer an offering of interest and curiosity and familiarity. And also, you know, to meet that 100%, we need to have some type of hybrid and different alternatives and modalities to get there. But no, definitely, we are huge fans of interactiveness and in-person training.
Is it fair, Mr. Tiarina, to say that the modules really are about baseline?
Yeah,
This is
totally.
the thing that everybody in the system will get. And then there's lots of other training and professional development that occurs at the district side, at the building side, as well as at the district level.
That is correct.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Seeing none, I will simply thank you for being here both in our work session and in our business meeting tonight. We appreciate the work that you're doing, and we're so excited by the results that we're seeing in so many different ways, and to see that we outperform the state in so many different ways by 10 percentage points. When we talk about low-income students and ELL students, and it's amazing the work that you're doing, and so we thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate the time.
Next on our agenda tonight is our public participation. So the board welcomes the comments of community members and has dedicated a portion of each business meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for the community to present brief comments to the board. All speakers are limited to 2 minutes for comments. The board typically does not engage in discussion or provide an immediate response to the input, but will ask district staff to respond as appropriate. Speakers will be heard in the order in which they signed up to speak, and priority will be given to students and parents of students enrolled in the district. Written testimony or speaker handouts must be submitted to our board secretary and not to individual board members. Prior to each board meeting, speakers must demonstrate proof of eligibility under this regulation in order to address the board. The board is committed to providing a safe environment where all members of the school community are treated with dignity and respect, and expects all speakers to exercise their speech rights responsibly. Remarks must be suitable for an audience that includes kindergarten through 12th grade students. All speakers and those in attendance shall conduct themselves in a non-disruptive manner. Cheering, snapping, clapping, and other distractions are not allowed during or upon completion of any public comments. All speakers and those in attendance who disturb order may be asked to leave. Defamatory or threatening remarks are always out of order. Speakers should be mindful of profane or obscene remarks and their appropriateness for an audience that includes kindergarten through 12th grade students. A presiding officer may terminate the speaker's privilege to address if, after being called to order, the speaker persists in improper conduct or remarks. Signs, banners, and other distracting items are not allowed in the boardroom. We may ask you to leave materials outside the boardroom or you may be asked to leave. Non-disruptive signs, posters, displays, and other visual depictions are allowed in the board meeting insofar as the items are no larger than 8.5 by 11 standard unit of paper. And I think that is all that we have to say, and we'll invite our first speaker tonight, Ms. Stacy Castile. Ms. Castile is a parent of a student or students in the district. Welcome, Ms. Castile. Thank you for being here tonight, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you so much. It was explained during the work session the difference between equality and equity. And as it was explained, equity is giving people who have disadvantages the same opportunity that equality is giving them. It is interesting how this is viewed when we have staff like Liz Mock-Murphy who suggest that supporters sign up en masse to prevent those with opposing views to get up here and to speak. That doesn't sound very equitable to me. Aren't parents and community members the stakeholders that we need to be engaged? Because it appears like that's trying to prevent stakeholders from being engaged. I am excited, though, to see what suggestions I am given for my biracial children on how they are supposed to answer the Panorama survey questions, such as, does their classroom material reflect their cultural background? Being biracial, it's a little hard to tell other students who are also biracial. Does equity require our students to be told repeatedly by administration and the board how a majority of our students fall under the poverty line so that they could be brought up to an equitable stance? Seems like we've gotten a little off basis here when we are focusing on things that may not actually be helpful to our students. I'm not sure what job they're looking to get where they are equitable and not equal. In a world where we fight for equality, it's sad that we have to make it such a point to give others a chance in situations where they really are not at a disadvantage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Castile. Next tonight, we have Ms. Tanis Batur. Ms. Batur is a resident of District 6. Welcome, Ms. Batur. Thank you for being here tonight, and you will have 2 minutes.
Superintendent Pilch, board members, my name is Tanis Batur. As a former elementary school librarian and proponent of quality public schools, I'm here to promote joyful literacy. In my career as school librarian, February was I Love to Read Month, followed closely by Read Across America in early March. It's my belief that when you honor and encourage the motivation to read, good things happen. Reading aloud to students, as well as allowing them self-selection of what they might be interested in and delighted by, encourages stronger reading skills and develops their curiosity and understanding of the world and its inhabitants. Not only does reading aloud at home strengthen a parent-child bond and encourage healthy brain development, it prepares a child for school by developing vocabulary, improving comprehension and active listening, and strengthens fluency, skills which schools value in developing good readers. In school, reading aloud with students and modeling vocabulary can help readers at all levels by expanding vocabulary, modeling usage, and backfilling important background knowledge and language structure. Independent libraries within classrooms and schools promote self-selection based on student interests, providing ready access to high-quality, culturally rich, engaging books, fosters student reading achievement, reduces summer reading loss, increases engagement and motivation, and encourages students to become lifelong learners and readers. Dr. Seuss once wrote, "The more that you read, the more things you'll know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Diving into a good book opens up a whole world of knowledge starting from a very young age. Curiosity is a good thing." When a speaker at January 23rd board meeting mentioned findings from the Manhattan Institute, I was curious and decided to peruse their website. I would encourage all of you to learn more about them. Let me just say, they're not friends of public education, but I am.
Thank you, Ms. Batur. Next tonight, we have Ms. Ellen Foster. Ms. Foster is a resident of District 6. Welcome, Ms. Foster. Thank you for being here tonight. You'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. I would like to begin tonight with 2 words, words that are guaranteed to strike fear in the hearts of administrators and divide the community. And no, it's not Hawaiian pizza. It's snow day. I would like to express my appreciation for the process by which the decision to call a snow day is made. I know that best efforts are made to consult with neighboring districts, weather forecasts, and the transportation department. I also know that whatever decision is made, people are going to be frustrated and angry. If a snow day is called the night before, families have time to make childcare decisions, but the snow and cold temperatures may not materialize as predicted. If a decision is made the morning of a school day, people will complain about late notice. If school is not canceled, people will complain about bad roads and children waiting for buses out in the cold. But most of us acknowledge the fact that District 6 is making the best decision they can with the information available. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Next tonight, we have Ms. Maria Foster, who is a resident of District 6. Welcome, Ms. Maria Foster. Thank you for being here tonight, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Superintendent Pilch, members of the board. I can't remember a time when I didn't love books. Both my parents were teachers, so there were always books in my home growing up. I had older siblings, so I was highly motivated to learn to read because, by gosh, I wasn't going to be left behind, and I wanted to do whatever they were doing. I was a pretty omnivorous reader, but my go-to in elementary school was any story that had an animal in it. So I read all the Walter Farley Black Stallion series, and I read Black Beauty, and I read Misty of Chincoteague Island, and The Incredible Journey. But one day from the school library, somehow I got a hold of a biography of Babe Diedrichson. And it was the first time in my life that it ever occurred to me that a woman could be a famous athlete. And not only was it a woman who was a famous athlete, she was a tomboy who grew up in a large family. And I was a tomboy growing up in a large family. And I did not grow up to win Olympic gold medals, and I did not found a major women's sports league. But I'll date myself, I did play on the very first volleyball and basketball teams offered by my local public high school when Title IX kicked in, and they had to expand women's and girls' sports programs. So I'm pleased when I hear about the diversity that the district is trying to embrace, and specifically in libraries, because every student should have the opportunity that I had to see themselves in a book. So no matter what gender they are, or what their sexual orientation, what color their skin, what economic status, what language they speak in their home, what country they were born in, every child should have an opportunity to see themselves in a book or see a possibility for themselves like I did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Next tonight, we have Ms. Sherry Pife. Ms. Pfeiffer is a resident of District 6. Welcome, Ms. Pfeiffer. Thank you for being here tonight, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm here tonight to talk to you about a group of folks that I like to refer to as my minions. For those who may not know who that is, that's the group of moms that comes to you every week and talks about books and talks about the problems that they have in this school district. And I use the term they're my minions tongue in cheek. And I use it because that's what everybody in this district seems to want to believe they are. But I can tell you that group of moms does what I tell them to do about as often as you guys do. I'm getting really tired of hearing that, why do these moms care? They don't have children in this district. Who decided that you had to have children in this district to care about the education of children? You didn't care about the residents of this school, if the residents of this school district had children when you came at them for your MLO. Everybody was fair game. And guess what? Most of the people that you parade up in front of here on a week-to-week basis don't have children in this district either. Julia Richards, no children. John Hafley, no children. Roger DeWitt, no children. Tom Norton, Bruce Berdarius, Chalice Springfield, Dr. Pilch. In fact, probably a good chunk of the staff of this district have no children in this district. But you care about their opinions, you care about what they have to say to you, because their narrative fits your narrative. You don't talk about why do they care about the children in this district when they don't have any. I don't have children in this district, why do I care about it? You all went into education because you care about children. Whether you have children in this district or not, you care about children. And let's not forget where this all began. It began when a former board member chose to call all of us narcissists and selfish. And to this day, Mr. Matthews, you still have not publicly admonished the fact that a board member called members of this public names. Yet you threaten everybody else on a weekly basis that they will be removed if we do the same. Did you forget who you work for? But let me make this clear. The bulk of these parents have children in this district. The idea that they don't is just not true. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pfeiffer. Next tonight, we have Mr. Russell Doty. Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Doty. Welcome, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch and board members. Thank you for letting me share how our First United Church of Christ, just west of the hospital, is cutting its electricity bill in a way that our schools could also reduce energy costs. We purchased solar panels and inverters awaiting final Excel and city approval to acquire US-made lithium iron-ion backup batteries. It'll cost us $350,000. Since solar panels do not use fossil fuel, embracing cheaper, greener electrons creates an immediate positive cash flow in most energy budgets, including our annual $25,000 church electricity budget. Church-owned solar is paid for from savings resulting when electricity from Xcel is offset with green electrons. Also, Xcel pays commercial customers a 3.5-cent renewable energy credit for each kilowatt hour their panels produce. Xcel's credits defray about a third of the project costs in addition. In addition, Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, will cover another 1/3. That's 1/3 of the cost. The IRA provides a direct payment to nonprofits like churches and schools. It will be $114,000 in our case, equal again to 30% investment tax credit that businesses and individuals have been able to write off for solar installations. Prior to the IRA, nonprofits and others without a tax liability could not use the tax credit, so they had to pay 30% more for their solar. The IRA made solar as affordable for non-tax public bodies, again, like schools and counties, as it is for entities wanting to avoid taxes. That's the reason for my being here, to ask you to do or continue doing whatever is necessary for our schools and taxpayers to benefit from the IRA direct payment sections 64, 17, and 18 to install solar, LED lighting, and conservation.
Thank you, Mr. Doty.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight. Next tonight, we have Ms. Candace Sawyer. Ms. Sawyer is a resident of District 6. Thank you for being here tonight, Ms. Sawyer. Welcome. You'll have 2 minutes.
Good evening, board. You know, you guys parade all your people up here that are all about these books, and it's quite disgusting how many people are a fan of pornography and sexually explicit books being in this district. I'm gonna give you a little timeline. You guys were first notified back in May of last year about these books. One of the parents met with Stacy, who continually told her that these books did not exist when they did. When it was brought to light, you guys had an entire summer to look into these books and chose not to. Fast forward to September 12th, after trying for months to get you guys to listen to us behind closed doors. That is when the excerpt was read from The Bluest Eye, which was found in Central High School's library, which you guys called those moms liars. But we had the proof and the evidence, which you guys received an email, a district-wide email from those concerned parents containing all of the books that they found, the excerpts, the codes, where they found them, and the statutes and the laws that prohibit from those books being in these schools. There's federal obscenity laws. Would you guys be okay with me walking into the library at one of these schools and handing a bunch of porno magazines? Because I'm pretty sure you have to be over 18 to get those. 5 of these books that you guys are reviewing are listed as explicit adult material. That would be Sloppy Firsts, Beloved, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, The God of Small Things, and 19 Minutes. They are all labeled 18 and over. You guys are still peddling this crap. I just looked at your website where it's hard to find your page that talks about these books, and you want a year and a half to review them? You want to leave them on the shelves and available to kids K through 12 who don't even understand half the time their own selves when they're that young to get a hold of these books while you take your time to review them? That's unacceptable. I asked you guys to include the community and some of us parents who brought our concerns, and you shut us out. Your website page is clear as mud as what to do. You say on March 7th, you're starting the new book and only 10 people are allowed to sign up. So it's the first 10 that get the chance to speak. Not fair.
Thank you, Ms.
Something
Sawyer.
needs to change.
Next tonight, we have Mr. David Meek.
Well, I gotta hurry, because
welcome, Mr. Meek.
Love Month is already over.
Thank you for being here
Almost
tonight.
over. Yeah, I'm David Meek, and I only got 2 minutes? When did that happen? I thought we had 3. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
2
the
minutes.
city council. Okay, this is Love Month, and I love, we all need a whole lot of love. And it's hard to love snakes, though. Just read Matthew 23. Jesus had a hard time with them, too. He called them Pharisees, Sadducees, hypocrites, and snakes, and all of that, just before they crucified him. But it is Love Month. This is candy cane, for those that can't tell. If you put 2 of them together and make a heart, make a love, heart. And I definitely believe in love after 50 years. It is a J for Jesus. This is a true story of the Christmas candy cane. And it is made of hard candy because Jesus is our only rock. That's why it's hard candy. Not Muhammad, not any other one. Jesus is the only one that's alive, so it's made of hard candy. Now the real candy cane will have 3 little stripes on it. As you will buy them sometimes, you'll find out there's 2 or 4. Well, they're fakes, just like some of you are fakes, and Christians are fakes, and pastors are fakes, and a few doctors and lawyers. So that's what we have, helping us sometimes. But there's 3 stripes on there. Now, why I say that is because kids are really not first, as was said a while ago, and things. They're not really first. It's more about you and your government and money and everything else and power. And you've made education a God where you should have no other gods before us. And you continue to do that years. Some of you have been here for months. I've been here for years. And doctor, I just sent you a letter today. So you read that through really close. And so it's all about Jesus and getting the free BibleInSchools.net free. And you can contract me for $1 a year, and I can do 2 or 3 of them. Of those classes, okay? And then the free good news clubs, and I got to close. Oh, 3 stripes stand for God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. The thick stripe stands for God's blood who saves us, and you need to be born again.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Meek.
you all.
Next up tonight, we have Mr. Stephen Grant. Mr. Grant's a resident of District 6. Welcome, Mr. Grant. Thank you for being here, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Pastor Matthews. Thank you, Board. Tonight, the house is burning down and you're still rearranging pictures on the wall.
You have a G-rated meeting in X-rated schools. We are talking here with the fact that you are considering one book a month. I've been working with a group that has identified 150 books. You've got them in your schools, you've got them in your libraries. And one of the things that you are doing is exactly what the communists love to do. You're hiding behind bureaucracy, you're hiding behind process. And as a result, these books are still in your libraries, and you are uncomfortable with having them read in these meetings. Mr. Matthews, I met with you. I met with Dr. Pilch, and we had a conversation in Dr. Pilch's office about some of this. And as a result of that conversation, what has happened? Well, nothing except process, except a revised policy that simply said, if the body of work, if the body of the book has literary value, if it's received an award, if its greater value exceeds that of the obscene, profane, adult-rated material, then we can retain that book in the school libraries. You revised that after our meeting and after our conversations. Now let me tell you something, there are groups out there that are extremely liberal that want to pervert our children that are more than happy to give a book an award. And they will do so, and you will condone that. I suppose you also read Playboy for the articles. Now listen to me. There's 150 books and our children need defended. You represent us. You don't represent communism, globalism, or obscenity. The federal laws still apply to you, and we will be looking at ways that we can enforce them.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Next tonight we have Ms. Sonia Miller. Welcome, Ms. Miller. Thank you for being here tonight. You'll have 2 minutes.
Welcome to Greeley-Evans, School District 6, where enrolling your kids could put them at risk. My time here is short, so let me introduce these tyrants to you in the style of Seuss. Our president's a pastor, meet Michael Matthews. He's just pretending and lacks moral values. VP Terry Pappas may have good intentions, but given her ways, she'd silence dissension. Deirdre Pilch is our dastardly superintendent, no regard for our children, her laws circumvented. We thought Kyle Bentley would work in our favor, but he lacks the courage. We wish he were braver. Oh, Taylor Sullivan, she works for the people, strong and outspoken, not one of the sheeple. Then there's Rob Norwood. What happened to you? Taylor needed a second, and what did you do? You sat there in silence like the rest of the crew. Natalie Mash and Miss Campos Spitzy, the nurse and the doctor that sit up there so pretty. They both work at Sunrise, our community clinic. Might want to avoid them, they're part of the gimmick. A gimmick so big it's consumed our whole lives, its purpose so evil its true nature disguised. Safe and effective is their slogan of choice, and if you disagree, they'll just silence your voice. They'll shame you for asking you and promise low risk. They'll tell you 1 in a million, you conspiracy theorist. Just a little poke here and a little poke there. Now our poor babies are living impaired. Autism takes them, their speech is delayed, they're chronically ill, their doctors dismayed. Some, after the shots and all of the screaming, they fall fast asleep and then just stop breathing. SIDS, they will call it, but we know the truth. Healthy babies don't just die in the prime of their youth. Sudden infant death syndrome is the name of the cover-up. SADS, they will call it when it happens to grown-ups. Unexplained death, what a stupid excuse. Admit it already, we know it's the juice. They faked a pandemic to get us to take this tyrannical treatment and the venom of snakes. A bamboozle indeed, the people were fooled, but we're done with your chicanery, and we refuse to be ruled.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Next tonight we have Ms. Mary Roberts. Thank you for being here tonight, Ms. Roberts. Welcome, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you, President Matthews, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Pilch. I'm all about partnerships. Recently, I went to a recognition dinner at Frontier House, and that evening, School District 6 was recognized. Their food service has been hiring members from Frontier House, and they work in the food service area, I do believe.
And the school district staff that evening acknowledged the importance of the Frontier House members. These members may not always be complete members of our community, but they are needed in School District 6, and School District 6 hires them. And I'm so proud that I was at that event to hear that recognition. Also, this Friday is the Art Walk in downtown Greeley. As President Matthews said earlier, many shops will have student art on display, but it's not just on Friday. Throughout the month of March, we will carry the art of students from District 6. That's another great example of the District 6 partnerships with local businesses. I'm grateful that I'm a part of those partnerships. My grandchildren have graduated from District 6. I'm a proud resident and a business owner, and I'm grateful for what you've done thus far. I have been here long enough to see what happened when we didn't have the kind of leadership you provide, and I want to encourage you to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Next tonight, we have Ms. Angelica Weiss. Ms. Weiss is a resident of District 6. Thank you for being here tonight, Ms. Weiss.
Not only am I a resident of District 6, I'm a mother of children who should be in District 6, but the district has failed them. You yourself called these books, said that they have sexually explicit material in them, yet they're still in our district and they're still available to kids without parental consent. So not only do you have these books available to children, but you also have teachers and people quoting scripture defending books like this. Now, when someone quotes scriptures and claims that they've worked in parish ministry for over 10 years, I get curious. Turns out this person is a self-proclaimed Satanist. So you have Satanists coming to defend the sexual explicit material that you have available to children as young as kindergarten. I'm really not sure what to do about that. I think that speaks for itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weiss. Next tonight, we have Mr. Bob Stack. Mr. Stack is a resident of District 6. Welcome, Mr. Stack. Thank you for being here tonight, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Good evening. I may read some of this. I'm a little nervous in front of people. Good evening, President Matthews, board, Dr. Pilch, staff, and audience. First, I'd like to compliment the fact that will be having a new CTE facility, especially the cyber security portion. As a 31-year military, we're seeing that cybersecurity becoming more and more important. Second, my topic tonight has to do with AI chatbots. AI meaning artificial intelligence. Chatbots, that's a step further with the artificial intelligence where the programming can do different things for you. Ask Siri or ask the other one, and I've forgotten its name. But very quickly, chatbots have been around. We've had them with Siri and Alexa. Public has not really been aware of what is happening with these chatbots, other than if you're trying to buy tickets and they've been scooped up. We've seen it as a public, more as a theoretical thing that's coming. But GPT, is only 2 months old. A company in California opened up in November, and I guarantee you it is hitting the streets. It will be coming our way. I know you've got your tech folks working on this already. You have probably heard of the student cheating that's going to come out of this. And by the way, the MIT instructor is saying, go ahead and use
it to write your essays, but then we're going to talk about it in a different way.
Thank you, Mr. Stack.
Didn't get to what I wanted, but I do ask you to do a presentation, have your staff on chat box
Thank
and
you,
your
Mr. Stack.
cybersecurity.
We appreciate you being here tonight, and that concludes our public participation. We're now on to our consent agenda. We just need to approve the consent agenda, and we'll need a motion to do so.
I move that the Board of Education, Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the items as presented in the consent agenda and authorizes the officers to sign any and all contracts.
Second.
Thank you both. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Not seeing any. Ms. Richards, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campus Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Richards. Next tonight, we have the second read of 2022-2023 school year calendar. And this is also an action item, I do believe, that will need a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the 2023-2024 school year calendar as presented.
Thank you both. Is there any, well, before we discuss, and we have discussed this a number of times, Dr. Belch, I don't know if there's much left to say, but is there anything you need to say before I open this up to board members for comments and questions?
No, I'm happy to take questions or comments. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments? And I say we've discussed this before. We've had a first read 2 weeks ago, and then we've discussed this in our work session a couple of different times. So we're pretty familiar with this calendar already. Ms. Pappas.
It might just be worthwhile just to remind our audience and public what the calendar is. What are we approving?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Pappas. We are approving the calendar for the 22-23 school year. This calendar looks very similar to our current calendar, with the exception of one additional day off in October that shifted on the calendar. You'll also see the spring break is in a similar place, and winter break does shift slightly later than what it has been in the past due to where the actual holidays follow over winter break. But it's a very similar calendar to the calendar we've had in the past. I have asked that staff continue to explore other calendar options for the future, possibly for future school years of the 23-24 school year, or this is the 23-24 school calendar. It says 22-23 in the agenda. We'll need to amend that, I'm afraid. I'm so glad I just saw that. But the motion is correct. It's actually just listed incorrectly on 11.1 or 01. Ms. Richards, if you can correct that for us, that'd be great. But you're approving tonight the 23-24 calendar. I've asked staff to continue to study this with the Time and Learning Committee to see if there are other options we want to consider going forward in 24-25. As you all were made aware at our last meeting, we just weren't quite ready to make a more dramatic change, like adding a fall break for a week long in October, or expanding the school year and giving more breaks frequently throughout the year, but having a longer school year without more conversation with more staff and more parents.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch. Thank you, Ms. Pappas. Are there any other questions or comments from board members on the calendar for the 23-24 school year? I'm not seeing any, so Ms. Richards, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campus Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Richards. Next on our agenda tonight, we have the authorization of the superintendent to approve planned expenditures for March. And I will just introduce this by saying normally we meet twice a month on the second and fourth Monday of the month. In March, we will not be doing that. That's because the second Monday of March will be on spring break. And so we won't be meeting on the second Monday of March, and we do have some bond expenditures that exceed our superintendent's spending limit, so we want to pre-approve those expenditures and give her the right to sign those without us having to go back and approve those. And am I saying this all correctly, Dr. Pilch? Is there anything that you would like to add?
Yes, President Matthews, you are saying it correct. What you're actually doing is authorizing for me to go ahead and enter into contract with the vendors listed there. Those contracts are not yet ready for approval, so we couldn't bring them to you tonight. But then we'll bring them back to you in March for final approval. But we don't want to hold up on, especially on the purchase of all these, this equipment that we are going to need for the next school year. So, and you're correct that most of it is bond purchases, some of it is ESSER grant, and some of it is mill levy override.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch. We will need a motion to proceed.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the superintendent to authorize planned expenditures as presented until the March 27th, 2023 business meeting.
Second.
Thank you both. Is there any discussion or comment from board members on this particular item? Ms. Richards, I'm not seeing any, so will you give us a vote, please?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campus Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Well, thank you again to everyone for joining us tonight. We appreciate your presence and being part of our meeting. Our meeting is now adjourned.